Alright guys, welcome back to another Upper Omnia video where we are back once again for another Who Should You BT Plus. And with this pair of BT Plus characters, we're going to be talking about Garland and the twins Lann and Reynn. Now with these two characters, they actually do bring some pretty nasty stuff via their BT effects and their abilities. Now a lot of players are pretty familiar with how Garland plays, with him dealing some strong damage and at the same time is also delaying the enemy or enemies depending on which ability that you are using. But for the twins though, the twins is a whole nother story because the twins are destructive when going up against multiple enemies. Now, in this video, we are going to be talking about their LDs, their BT/BT Plus. We're going to get into their BT effects. We're going to talk about which characters synergize well with these two characters, what are the pros and cons on them. And at the end of the video, or towards the end of the video, we will talk about who we plan to BT Plus once their banner drops. Now, when I say we, my friend Kaiden once again will be joining me in this Who Should You BT Plus video, as we are both going to be giving our opinions on said characters, talking about the things that I have already mentioned that we are planning to talk about. So with that being said, if you guys do enjoy the video, consider liking the video and subscribing for future Upper Omnia content. Let's go ahead and get into it, guys. Let's first talk about Garland, followed by the twins, and then of course we'll get into who we plan on BT Plusing. So let's first start off with Garland's LD ability and quickly go over what he gets out of it. So he gets himself a new overhead called the Chains of Time, and of course he is able to increase the stacks of the Soul of Chaos buff and the Soul of Conflict buff, which the Soul of Chaos you get from either using his skill 1 or skill 2, and the Soul of Conflict from his EX ability. Now with his overhead though, the overhead is the more important thing, because with the overhead, there is an aura that affects the enemies, which all enemies will be affected with a speed down and a defense down. Now, since this is a stackable overhead, it has a max stacks of 5, and the way to increase it is to let Garland attack an enemy. So as you can see, these are the different percentages, which I won't get into. Now with his LD boards, he does get brave damage up, and of course that is based on the amount of stacks that Garland has, and he does get a 20% HP damage up, which does not get affected by the stack count, and the same goes for the stolen max brave overflow up. But with the small rework that he is going to be getting with his BT Plus, they now made it so that based on the stack that you have with his overhead, he actually gets an additional HP damage delta up and stolen max brave overflow up. And so as you can see here, if you get Garland up to 5 stacks, he has a 30% HP damage up and a 40% stolen max brave overflow up. So you already know that Garland is already, just with his LD ability, is going to be dealing some pretty solid damage with not only his LD ability, but of course his skills as well. Now let's talk about Garland's BT effect. Now his BT effect, which lasts for 6 turns, provides the party with brave damage up, brave damage cap up, stolen max brave overflow up, and HP damage up. Now this is a stackable BT effect, because with this BT effect, the way to increase it up to 5 stacks is it increases after each party member's turn. So if you say, example, you have a turn hogger, it will be much easier to be able to increase his stacks up to 5. The bad thing about this BT effect is that if somehow you let the enemy act, it does reset back to 1 out of 5 stacks. So that's the downfall about this BT effect. But because of that, I mean, you do get some strong effects out of this. Now, whenever you decide that you want to throw a book at it or ingots into it, you actually get some pretty good stuff. So at 0 out of 3, if you throw a book at it, Garland will be able to do up to 1 mil in damage. At 1 out of 3, you get it extra turn whenever you are in burst phase. At 2 out of 3 is where things really start picking up. So he gets an extension to his BT effect. So now instead of being 6 turns, it is now at 8 turns. So that's really, really good. And on top of that, they added an increase in percentages to the party Brave damage up and the Brave damage cap up. So if we take a look at it, if we take a look at the actual percentages that he gets with that add-on, if you 2-3 his BT weapon, is with the Brave damage up, now you start off at 60%, then 70, 80, 90, up to 100 Brave damage up if you get him to max stacks. And then for the Brave damage cap up, now it goes up to 30%, 35%, 40%, 45%, and then finally 50%. Excuse me, I can't math. So you Garland and his teammates can do up to 14,998 in Brave damage. So now we're going to be talking about who Garland synergizes with in terms of characters or in terms of like card abilities, debuffs, buffs, whatever it is that is gonna help out with Garland. And then we'll talk about a few pros and cons, but this time I'm not gonna be talking about it. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, I do have my friend Kaiden. Once again, he is gonna be helping me out with this Who Should You BT Plus video. So my friend, welcome back. Go ahead, do your thing. I think everybody at this point knows who the hell you are.
I know, right? I have that vexation issue. Welcome back, guys. Good to be back here again. But we were talking about Garland. For me personally, I really like units that really bring Garland's delay capabilities to the forefront. Just because of the fact that Garland has a lot of powerful attacks with him, and he's a very heavy single target monster. Once it comes down to Garland, he's very. You can definitely depend on him. He's very self-reliant. But what does hinder Garland a little bit is enemy acting and making sure that you keep the enemy's actions to a minimum. When Garland is there, you definitely want to make sure the enemy is not moving, because not only does his BT effect suffer because of it, but when it does come down to Garland, Garland is a enemy manager. He definitely can control an enemy unit really good. I would definitely say units that synergize well with him. If you do come across a very tanky or heavy defensive boss, you can definitely bring defense down and imperils and enchants along with him as well. Garland as a solo delayer does work in some situations, but it doesn't hurt to have extra backup when it comes down to it. And the quickest way to back him up would be slows, action delay units, or debuffs rather. When it does come down to Garland, like any unit that can slow down an enemy, like Kurosame Call or Kurosame in the team, you can actually roll with, I would definitely say, Quistis right along with him if you want to have her as a call for him, or if you want to have her in the party with him as well. Because again, keeping the enemies in control is very important for Garland's kit. Just because his BT effect is pretty much solely dependent on it. It's not just that, but like when it does come down to him, Garland hits hard, really fast. He doesn't have like any off-turn damage, but while he's on turn, Garland has amazing on-turn damage. It just comes down to how you can really boost him, how you can really make him shine more, and how what team comes to really roll with him. So do not shy away from other delayers working with him. He does work fine as the solo delayer of the team, but he can be even greater when there's another delayer helping him. Zidane is another unit that comes to mind when it comes down to him as well. Putting those two BT effects together, if there's an enemy that is debuffed and you can delay them together entirely, Zidane will make it and Garland will make it to where a boss will not move and not act at all. When it comes down to Garland, keep the enemy in check, and you will see fantastic results from them.
And with that being said, now we're going to switch over to the twins, and we're going to look over their LD ability, their BT/BT effect, and then of course I'll let Kaiden talk about the pros and cons of the twins. Now we'll talk about the twins' LD ability. Now the LD ability, which is a destructive LD ability in terms of going against multiple enemies. This ability grants them 2 buffs and a brand new buff. Now, the Mirage S, which is also granted from the skill 1, Mirage L, which is granted from the skill 2, the stack resist down, which is also able to be inflicted from their EX ability, and the new buff called Mega Mirage Summon. Now, this buff right here is what really amps up the damage with the twins. So with this buff, they get themselves an attack up, stolen max brave overflow up, elemental weakness brave damage up, and an HP damage up. Now, this is based on the amount of enemies that are on the field. So if you are facing up against 3 enemies, best believe you are going to be getting the highest attack up, stolen max brave overflow up, elemental weakness brave damage up, and then finally HP damage up. So at HP damage up, if there are 3 enemies on the field, you get a 30% bonus for the twins. 2 enemies, 20%, and then 1 enemy will be 10%. So as you're kind of already seeing that with the twins, they excel at best when going up against multiple enemies, and especially the fact that whenever you use their LD ability, they also the enemies get inflicted with that stack resist down, which basically makes it so that they have like fire resist down, ice resist down, thunder and water and earth. So that means that the twins are going to be dealing some strong damage, especially because you have that elemental weakness brave damage up. So you already know that they are going to be hitting numbers when going up against multiple enemies. Now with their BT weapon and their BT effect, so the BT effect for the twins lasts for 6 turns, and this BT effect provides the party with stolen max brave overflow up, brave damage up, HP damage up, and max brave cap up. Now this is also a stackable based BT effect, but it depends on the amount of enemies that you're going up against. So let's say, for example, we're going up against 3 enemies, then the party, including the twins, will be getting a 30% stolen max brave overflow up, a 50% brave damage up, a 30% HP damage up, and a 30% max brave cap up. Or you can deal up to 129,998. Oh, you can go up to 129,998, excuse me. Now, if you decide that you want to BT plus the twins, what you get out of them whenever you do decide to throw a book at it is that they will be able to deal up to 1 mil in damage. If you throw 1 ingot out of it, or at the BT weapon, you will get an extra turn in the burst phase. Now, with 2 out of 3 ingots into the BT weapon, they added stolen brave, max brave overflow up percentages, and max brave cap up. So you can potentially deal much higher damage with the twins BT effect being active, as long as there are multiple enemies on the field. So as you can see, if you want to know the total percentages for the twins, so with the twins now being at the BT, being at 2 out of 3, so it improves now for the brave overflow limit up, now being at 30, 40, and 50%, and then with the max brave cap up, now it's going to be at 20, 30, and 40%. Or as you can see, max 139,998. That's going to be a lot of HP damage that you're going to be dealing with as long as you have multiple enemies on the field. And then, of course, whenever you fully maxed out the BT weapon and you get it to BT plus state, you do get an additional BT or non-burst mode BT effect from the twins. So, yes, these twins are the true AoE nukes of Opera Omnia. Now, with the twins, I'm going to let Kaiden go ahead and talk about who they synergize with, the pros and cons and whatnot, and all that good stuff, and the bad stuff, or potential bad stuff that the twins has. So, Kaiden, you're up, my friend.
Thank you. When it does come down to the twins, for me personally, when I look at them, I think that with their LD and their BT, they become a very interesting and a very unique unit in particular, just because they excel at multi-target fights versus single-target fights. One of the greatest cons of, one of the greatest pros and the greatest cons that come down with the twins is if you see them in a multi-target fight, this is a pro, you'll see them deal a large amount of damage really fast, really quickly. However, a con for them is if you see them in a single target fight, not only does their damage kind of drop, but when it does come down to it, their LD actually functions differently. The LD will actually go from being as a actual multi-cast, like 2 times cast in a row, to being just one time, a single cast in that situation. But it still gives the free skill after the use, so that is nice about that. But Twins really needs to be in a multi-target fight in order for them to really get the most and the maximum damage output from them. I definitely feel like when it does come down to the Twins, they imperil their own elements, which makes them hit even harder. They do have a lot of brave hits when it's gathered across multiple targets. But again, if it goes back to being a single target fight, you definitely want to be able to bring a unit that complements them or that can help them participate in the fight when it does come down to it, just because of the fact that if you are using them in the single target fight, they don't have a lot of brave hits in their kits. They do have still the 2 HP dumps in skill 1 and skill 2, which gets the rework, but they definitely are going to need battery. So any units that can provide battery for them, your Stola, any units that can definitely like give them even more, like your Stola, Porum, Agrius, or like even Yuna. Like if you really are like going on that bravery route, we will be getting more units going forward that can definitely help them out. But when it does come down to Twins, you definitely want to be able to keep them battery, because the more battery they are, the more damage that they'll deal. And on top of that, because they are able to hit weakness, you really don't have to worry about them too much when it comes down to damage. I would definitely say more than anything else, defense down is always a great thing to have when it comes down to units in particular. And just because they're able to hit weakness, you'll always be able to really get them going, and they'll always be able to hit. You can never go wrong with battery for them. Even with their BT effect gains more for the group when there are multiple targets. That BT effect hits very, very hard, but I definitely can sit there and say more than anything else, when it does come down to the pros and cons, if it's a single target fight, oof. It's one of the greatest way I could possibly say it, but they still work. The damage output does drop when it's single target damage. When it is multi-target damage, their damage spikes, and you can definitely see them really shine well when there's multi-target. 3 targets in a fight, you pretty much guaranteed to get the maximum out of them, and they will pretty much burn something down within seconds. We all thought Cloud of Darkness was really badass when it came down to AoE damage. Twins come in and they just drop mills like it's nothing. So prepare yourself for that, because Twins are amazing when it comes down to multi-target fights. I enjoy both the Twins and Garland BT.
Now, with all that being said, now we are going to talk about, and I don't think Kaiden actually knows who I'm planning to BT plus unless he's actually seen the one video that I kind of announced it. But we are not gonna talk about who we plan on BT plusing and why. And I guess I'll go first. So I'm still sticking to my guns and what I said about a month or 2 ago on doing the opposite of what I did on JP. So instead of me actually greening Garland, I'm actually going to be greening the Twins. And I have the correct support characters, or characters that will help them perform very much well, going up against either 2 or 3 enemies. And I mean, the difference between 2 and 3 enemies percent wise with their BT effect, it's like what, 10% or something like that. But I mean, we do have other units, we do have call abilities, we do have other ways to be able to increase the HP damage up on the enemies. So that's not really too much of an issue for me. Like I said earlier, the Twins, they do not excel at all going up against single target enemies. So that's the one downfall about them. But I am planning to greening the Twins just because I want that destructive AoE nuke damage that they deal after you hit the BT effect, and you got that BT effect active, and then you start slamming the enemies with their skills, especially as a friend unit. Oh my god, it is destructive. And I actually recently used them, even though I don't have a video uploaded on them, but I actually used a Twins friend unit in JP not too long ago, and best believe, woo, the damage is definitely still there, and there was much possible. There's definitely ways to be able to increase that damage in JP. So I know for a fact, at least in my opinion, because I mean, you know how it is. People tend to have their takes on characters. But like I definitely see the twins as very much future proof, especially going up against multiple enemies.
I like that statement of interesting takes. I colorful takes that live in this world. I will not argue with that fact. Right. But for me, on my side, if I had my way and if I had the resources, I would probably go after the twins too, just because of the twins LD really makes me extremely happy to use them. For me, playing World of Final Fantasy, I enjoyed the Prism, gotta catch them all type of sort of feel, but like in the Opera Omnium, when it does come down to it, their uniqueness and their ability to deal massive amounts of damage really fast across multiple targets make me want to pull for them, just because it fits my playstyle more of me having to interact with the boss versus me having to delay the boss. I've said this before and I'll say this again. Like, when it comes down to my playstyle, I don't mind interacting with the boss, but with Garland, I do have his BT, and Garland has served me extremely well in the past. And I honestly think that for me, when it does come down to it, like my first mind says twins, but like in my heart of hearts, I definitely want to roll with Garland, just because I think Garland, not only do I pretty much already have him already, but when it does come down to Garland, I think I can really make him work with the units I do have in mind. Everybody knows the one particular unit I do roll with. But,
wonder who.
Please don't wonder. It's just an awful thing to fixate on that. But when it does come down to it, I can definitely say for sure for me, I think Garland, if you go with Garland or if you go with twins, either one of them can definitely be a powerhouse. But I think for me, I can roll with Garland and Garland would be good. I just need to find a way to keep the bosses stationary for the rest of my life. all the way till our Orin. Orin is going to be another one I'm definitely going to be pulling for, but Garland can definitely get the green for me.
Nice. Very nice. So with that being said, though, guys, let us know down in the comment section below who you are planning to BT plusing, or if you're actually gonna skip on this pair of BT plus characters. Shoot, let me know in the comment section as well. Let me know how you guys feel about each of these two characters, based on what you have heard from both of us. Maybe some research that you may have already done with these characters. All that good stuff. Let me know down in the comment section below. But I think both of us are pretty firm with who we are BT plusing, unless you get lucky with the twins.
I mean, unless they have a free pull, guys, I will sit here and tell you. Vane BT, love this man to death, but he took he took a pity for me. I have no more resources. Send help. Don't send the FBI on me, because I already have to but just send help, please. Oh, man.
So, with that being said, though, guys, if you guys did enjoy it, you already know, consider liking the video, subscribing, not just to my channel, but also to Kaiden's channel as well. He's very close to 200 subs, so get him to 200 subs, because I think he said he might do something special. I don't know. We'll see.
Yo, don't tell my secret.
oh my God.
Oh my God, you just told my secret. All
right.
Oh,
JK, I'm just kidding. But anyways, though, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take care, guys, and we'll catch you guys in the next Who Should You BT Plus here in the next few weeks.
Take care, guys.